Hey guys, AJ Quesada here, co-founder of Revenue Boost. And if you watched the recent 2024 Super Bowl, or if you haven't, you've probably heard of that crazy ad Kanye West did that everyone's talking about. It was really unexpected, a type of ad that no one's ever done before. He basically filmed it in the back of his car, in the back of an Uber, on a smartphone, which was an ad that he paid $7 million to place. But it absolutely crushed it, super successful, generated almost $20 million in sales. And in this video, you're gonna see me breaking it down as to why it worked, because I don't think this was an accident or a mistake or he was short on time. To me, this was very intentional, and there's a lot of marketing genius that you can learn from it as well. And even if you don't have a shoe company, because I don't, I'm always a big fan of learning marketing from different industries that I'm not related to, because you can learn a lot that you can take those creative ideas into your industry as well. So hope you enjoyed this video, and if you are enjoying this video or other videos of mine, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. Your support means a lot, and it motivates me to make more videos like this. So hit that subscribe button and enjoy. Welcome to another episode of How to Scale an Agency. I'm your host, AJ Quesada. If you're here in the group watching live, drop a comment down below. If you're here on the podcast watching after the fact, then I definitely recommend you join our Facebook group, because we stream these trainings live every week and people can come and ask questions. Anyways, I'm excited for today's training. Today, I'm going to be reviewing one of the Super Bowl ads that really crushed and really made a lot of sales. There was a lot of amazing Super Bowl ads, but I'm going to be breaking down Kanye West's ad, because it was the weirdest ad that we've ever seen at the Super Bowls. Yet it worked, and it got him over 300,000 customers, $19 million in sales in just 24 hours. And the craziest part is he spent $0 on the actual ad. He paid $7 million for the spot, $0 on the ad. After the Super Bowl, people always talk about the ads, and I wanted to pick one that I really liked and where there's a couple good learning lessons around it, because if these people are spending $5, $10, $50 million on their Super Bowl ad, there's a lot we can learn from these marketers that are behind these campaigns, right? And even if you're not selling shoes or e-commerce accessories like Kanye West is, I'm not either, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of learning lessons you can take away from it. I really like to go outside of the marketing industry for like marketing success stories and learning. I think we all get in our own bubble, in our own industry. And it's good to look at successful campaigns and growth stories from all different industries that you're not even involved in, because that's where you can get your mind to like really stretch and think a little bit more and get some examples from other industries that could actually apply to yours. So anyways, I'm just going to start talking about Kanye West's ad that got 300,000 customers, 19 million in sales, and why this worked. And look, whether you like Kanye or not, or whether you like his music or not, at the end of the day, he's got one of the largest personal brands, right? He's someone who gets talked about quite a lot in the media, whether it's good or bad. And he's doing a lot of awesome stuff, right? I think there's always a lot to learn from someone who has a brand of that size and stature. This looks like an ad that could be on TikTok or something, or like a quick post, but this is actually what Kanye had paid $7 million to put at the Super Bowl. The 30-second spot. Here's just me talking to you, telling you that we have some shoes. Go to Yeezy.com, check it out. That was his pitch. We have some shoes. And it was enough to get 300,000 people to go to his website and buy, and to get all of the internet talking about this ad constantly for like weeks straight. If you just Google Kanye West ad, you'll see this all over the place. So why did this work? It's basically Kanye in his car on his phone. It's like a really blurry ass phone. It looks like a flip phone or something. Kanye in his car on a flip phone or something, or a really blurry camera. And he's just saying, hey, I have shoes, go to my website and buy it. Why did this work? Not only did it work, it got 300,000 customers in 24 hours. What can you learn from this, right? First of all, I think the reason why it worked is because it's just so unconventional and different, right? If you think about all the other ads at the Super Bowl, they're all very polished. They're like Hollywood level production, and that's why we all love them. But this is something that's just totally out of place, which means people will pay more attention. This is a pattern interrupt. That's one of the most powerful things you can do in marketing, is have a pattern interrupt. And a pattern interrupt just means like something different than everything else that's there. Your brain pays more attention, right? When something is like different in our environment, our brain just pays more attention. If you're walking down the street and you see someone that walks by you and they're wearing like a lime green suit and like a giant pink hat, you would pay attention to that person, right? But you probably wouldn't notice the outfits of everyone else that walked down past you, right? But it's because there's a pattern interrupt, something different. So your brain has to pay attention to it and see what's going on. It's really a mechanism to help us avoid threats, right? And what's different in our environment. So anyways, this ad is a great example of a pattern interrupt, right? Every other Super Bowl ad is really high production value and Hollywood level. And this is just this man in the back of an Uber talking to his smartphone. Now, this is so important because, again, like we might tune out a lot of other ads, but this is something that got everyone talking and it got everyone paying attention and listening. And I think aside from the fact that it's a pattern interrupt and that it's different from what you're used to seeing, it's also just something that's very organic and real. We all got a little bit immune to marketing, right? In 2024, we are all skeptical of marketers. We see through all the marketing tricks when we see commercials. This is why you see people that grow huge audiences so quick on something like TikTok, where they just share like little clips, talking to a camera, talking in a car, talking while walking down the street, right? I think we just crave authenticity. We've seen all these polished ads for a while, and now people are more skeptical of marketing. And it just seems like the more polished and orchestrated something is, the more that it just in the back of our mind, it makes our BS radar go off. It makes us think like this is marketing. So when something is this organic and real, you just can't help it but believe it. You can't help but just relate to it. What is more real than someone sitting in the back of a car making a quick video talking to you about a new project they're launching? I think it's really powerful. I don't think he did this on accident. He says in the video, hey, we spent all the money on the commercial, so we didn't have any money for the actual commercial to produce anything. It could be true, but I feel like he's just making that up. Obviously, he's a smart guy. And even if you aren't a big Kanye fan, you don't have to be. You can't argue that he's a smart guy. You can't become a billionaire without being smart and really successful. So I doubt he just forgot to budget in for the commercial. I doubt the team behind him that's also really smart and on top of their game, I doubt they forgot to budget for the commercial. So to me, it seemed like it was an intentional thing that they did because obviously these guys know what they're doing. I think he did it on purpose because he knew that this organic style would work really well. If you think about most of the viral videos on the internet, it's mostly someone on their smartphone camera doing something in like a normal everyday setting. So this kind of fits into what's really going viral most of the time and what's really like some of the most popular shorts or ads, right? So Kanye took something that works really well in this organic social media world and this like creator economy, and he put it on top of the Super Bowl and did it for a medium that's never been done before. We've never seen a Super Bowl ad like this ever. So that's why it's got so many people talking about it. Have you ever scrolled across like a YouTube ad or like a Facebook ad and it just looks so staged? Even if you like what they're saying, it feels a little bit disconnected, right? But when you see an ad or a video and it's like someone walking down the street with their girlfriend, boyfriend, or they're on a mountain or they're in the back of a car, we just relate to it more because first of all, that's what we're used to seeing on social media. When you open up your Facebook feed, you're not expecting to see these like crazy polished ads. You're mostly expecting to see like pictures and videos of friends in everyday settings. So I think he really mirrored that really well, but just put it in a different medium and it actually worked, which is great. And again, we all crave that authenticity and just that organic feel. And I think that's why user-generated content is working so well. I think that's why influencer marketing is popping off because people now, especially young people, like Gen Z, they're paying so much more attention to influencers and these third-party endorsements and these very real, everyday looking types of videos and ads and things like that. They buy an insane amount just from someone they follow on a podcast tells them to buy from. So that's why you see all these really huge brands, some of the biggest brands in the world, is investing heavily into influencer marketing because it's really how this young generation tends to buy. Like our parents' generation, if you think about someone who's maybe 50, 60, 70 years old, they grew up with this like very polished marketing with like infomercials where someone, you remember Billy Mays, right? Where he would sell you all these different things like kitchen items and stuff. So our parents grew up with this different kind of marketing that was very polished and very much that infomercial style, right? Where someone's just talking at you with a sales pitch for a while. But if you look at most popular video from, the 1980s, the 1990s, the 2000s, they get more and more different over time. And I feel like over the last 10 years, because of the technology available with video editing, we have all these insane video effects. And even look at music videos, right? Music videos in the last 5 or 10 years are really interesting. They're like mini movies and they have like monsters and like CGI and create like buildings being blown up, and all these crazy things happen. So the production value has gone through the roof thanks to new developments in video editing technology. However, the more that things get polished, especially with AI coming out as well, the more that things get polished, the more that there's just a little bit of a disconnection. And I feel like people are more and more craving authenticity, and that's why these organic looking ads really work. So how can you apply this to your own brand? If you're doing any kind of video ads or again, just writing content in general, try to think how you can make it less feel like marketing, like a marketing team made it. Try to just do some things where it's just you actually pulling up your smartphone and making a video, or you have an idea, go write about it and post it right then and there. I've noticed this with my own content. I've been posting on Facebook and LinkedIn and this podcast for years now. And recently we've been doing a lot of more like design and branded posts, and they never work as well. When I share a funny meme or I share a picture of me and my wife, that always works better than when I have a design post of an ebook or a guide or something, especially on Facebook. All that to say, we all can see through marketing, and I think anything you could do to have a more organic approach in your content or your ads, anything that can make people feel like they can connect to you more. Like when you watch that Kanye ad, you can just connect in. It almost feels like you're like in the car with him and he's just telling you like, hey man, I got these shoes, I got this new project. That's literally all he says. He doesn't say anything about the quality of the shoes or anything like that. So I think we can all take this mind, especially to personal brands, right? If you have a personal brand or you want to build one, just do things like that. Do things where you're walking down the street on your smartphone, back of the car, hiking on a mountain, whatever it is you do. And that gives your audience a chance to experience a day in the life with you and really feel like they can connect you more as a person because they don't have to worry. Think about politicians, right? And this is another controversial figure. I guess I'm bringing up two in one video, but think about Donald Trump. Whether you love or hate the man, you can't argue that he's not himself, right? When you look at someone like Obama or other presidents, they're so like, everything they say is just like Joe Biden, for example. He reads off a teleprompter and most people don't really care much about what he's saying because they know it's just this scripted thing from his team. So most politicians, they're very polished and they have this whole speech planned out in their head and it's made by their team. And you could just tell when a politician is just saying this prefabricated kind of thing that seems very artificial, not very organic. But I think why a lot of people like Trump is he just seems very real. He actually means what he says. And even if some of the things that he says are crazy and you don't agree with it, you can still tell that he believes it and he means it, right? And I think that's why a lot of people, especially in Washington, a lot of people crave like a politician that actually feels like a real person. Anyways, I'm not going to talk anymore about that example because I don't want to get a bunch of Trump haters in the comments, and this is not a political video at all. But either way, you can all look at these examples of icons in our society and see what you can learn from them. So at the end of the day, people are craving more authenticity. That's why an ad like this worked. Not only did it work, it got 300,000 customers. The last learning lesson is, honestly, guys, whatever Kanye would have put as the ad would have worked because he's Kanye. So this goes to show that the better you build your personal brand or your company's brand, like the more that you just have status in the marketplace. And when you have high status in the marketplace, when you have high authority in your niche, like whatever you do, you're going to have loyal followers. You're going to have loyal fans. So if you're not doing this already, invest in your personal brand, invest in your company brand, gain authority, gain a position in your marketplace. Because what I found from my own personal experience, and look, I've been posting every day for almost 2.5 years now. I by no means have a huge audience yet. Nothing like obviously Kanye West. But even in just a few years of me doing daily content posting and sharing value and growing the podcast and the group and all of that, I still see immense benefits, opportunities coming out left and right. Next month, I'm going down to Phu Quoc, an island in Vietnam, to speak to 300 entrepreneurs on stage about cold email. These opportunities come up to me all the time, very often, just because of the personal brand I built. Spend as much time as you can building your personal brand and content marketing, because the more that you gain status in the marketing place, the more that whatever you do, it's like going to turn to gold. And you're going to have these loyal followers, 1,000 fans that can support you and can support your business till the end of time. So obviously, Kanye's Super Bowl ad success isn't just about his ad. If he was just a random guy, you might not have went to his website, but it's because of the last 15, 20 years he spent building this following, building this cult-like following. So how can you do the same thing in your own business? Because it's just so powerful. And one thing I found is that the better you are at marketing, the less you have to actually sell. Because Kanye is good at marketing and he's built this great brand for himself, he doesn't have to sell. He didn't say anything about the quality of his shoes. He didn't say why they're better than Nike shoes. He didn't say about like the new styles or the new, like nothing about the actual shoes. He just literally said, we got some shoes and here's the website name. So the better you are at marketing, the less you have to sell, which means that the better you grow your brand, the better you are at marketing in general, the less work you have to do on the sales side because you're just bringing in people who already know and trust you. So really powerful stuff. I thought it was great. I had a good laugh seeing this. I thought it was a joke at first, but then I looked it up and I saw this all over the news and I'm like, this is actually a real ad. But I'm not surprised why it works. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see more big brands doing these low budget, low production videos in the future, because at the end of the day, we all crave authenticity. And I think especially in the age of AI, as we see more AI generated content, we are going to really get sick of this like polished crap. And we're going to want relate more to these authentic, relatable ads. And also we'll relate more to influencers and experts and companies that are down to earth and that we feel like we can connect with. Anyways, cool little lesson in marketing there. Hope you enjoyed the quick breakdown. Yeah, and you can go Google this and just see a bunch of people talking about it. It's pretty funny seeing what happened. But I definitely believe that it was not an accident. It seemed like they wanted to maybe try this. And that's the last lesson, right? Innovate. Try something new in your industry. I think us marketers, we're always trying to replicate what other people have done. And look, there's a time and a place to replicate things. It's good to look to what others are doing in your industry to replicate their success, but there's also time to innovate. And you're not going to create anything that special or that big if you don't innovate, right? If you're always just trying to copy what others are doing, if you're always just trying to look at what ads or emails your competitors are doing and you're just trying to do something similar, first of all, you're always going to be a few steps behind them. You'll never be able to beat them. And second of all, you're not really creating anything of that much value. So when Kanye tried this ad, there's a chance it would have not worked. It's a really like ballsy idea, right? To like just send a smartphone video to a Super Bowl ad. So there's a chance it might not have worked. And that's the thing about innovating. When you innovate, you take risks, right? But you have to take those risks. You have to be okay with failure, because otherwise you wouldn't be pushing the envelope and going out of bounds trying these new ideas in the first place. So this is a great example of innovation, and it's innovation that costs nothing, right? He just spends $0 on actually producing the ad. He still risked the $7 million in the ad spot, but the innovation didn't actually cost any money. But this is a great example. There's never been an ad like this before in the Super Bowl. Kanye saw that, hey, in this other space, in this whole like social media space, these types of videos organically are working. and people like to pay attention to influencers in this kind of relatable everyday setting. So let me take what's working over here and apply to the Super Bowl ad because no one's ever done it before. And he did that and it crushed it. And that's a great way to innovate, is when you take something from one industry and apply it to another. Elon Musk is also very famous for doing that, taking like philosophies and principles from one industry and applying it to another. So yeah, anyways, how can you innovate more in your business? What's something that nobody in your industry is doing that you could do that could really set you apart? Good question to think about over the rest of the week. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this breakdown. If you did, let me know in the comments. That was super fun. And without further ado, I'll see you guys all on the next episode. Thanks again.